Just I forgot to press the record button. Anyways, hey Ethan, good to see you. We were just started.
Yo.
We were talking about taxes for a bit. So yeah, recently, just yesterday, I did taxes for the Indonesian government. But here's the thing, though. To be honest, I don't really hate doing the taxes per se. It's like the one thing that I dislike of filing my taxes, it's not because of the government. It's actually because of my mom. Like, okay, hear me out. All right. So yesterday, I was just chilling, doing something, and then suddenly my mom came to me yesterday, and my mom is like, "Bro, Lux, the the tax deadline is in 1 week because it's a 30th of March deadline. So it's like, hey, the taxes is gonna deadline in 1 week. We gotta file our taxes now. And then I was like, can we do this later, mom? And then my mom is like, no, we have to do it now because in like 30 minutes I need to watch my favorite TV show in Netflix. And then I was like, okay, cool, but can we do this? Can we actually do this later? Can we do this tomorrow? And then mom was like, no, we have to do it now. We have to do it now. I mean, it's good to not delay stuff, but there's only one problem. I was still eating my dinner. She approached me while I was eating dinner. I was like, "Mom, I'm still eating. Can a man eat in peace, please?" So and then and then my mom is like, "No, no, 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 no. We can prepare while you're eating dinner. We can prepare your bank statements. We can prepare your financial statements. Come on, just bring out your phone and we're gonna prepare those statements now on your phone." And then I was like, fine. And then I just bring out my phone, and then I put it on the table while I was still eating, munching my food there. And then I open my bank app, my banking app, and then my mom was like, "All right, Lux, press this, press this, press this." And then not even first step, we already have a bit of an annoyance, which is, to be honest, I don't really open my banking app quite a lot. So first of all, it's like, oh, you have to update first when I log into the banking app. I was like, okay, sure, I guess I'll update first. And then but my mom didn't realize that, being parents, and then was like, what took you so long? Why don't you get into the banking app quickly? And then I was like, Mom, please wait. It's updating. I need to go to the app store and stuff like that. So here's another thing. It's like, I swear, like, have you ever had those moments where you really need something on your technology in your phone or your computer, and like you really need to do something really badly, but then your technology just doesn't want to cooperate with you? Like, you have those moments before, right? Like installing update, and then it just keeps spinning, and then you just wait for it like that. It just keeps spinning and spinning like that. It's literally the same thing. In the Play Store, it's like, oh, it's still installing for quite a while. and then and then there's my mom beside me looking at the phone. It's like, and then I was like, oh my god, please, phone, please be quick, phone, please be quick. And then, okay, after waiting for a few minutes, it's finally installed. I got I got it working. All right, I downloaded the bank statement to be uploaded into the tax website and stuff like that. And then, but it's not only one application. I have like two banking applications, and then on the second bank application, it's the same thing. I need to install the update again, wait again, and my mom is like there while I was munching my dinner and stuff like that. And then my mom was like, "Hurry up, hurry up! Yeah, it's installing. You think I can help with that?" like, oh my god! And then fast forward a little bit. Finally got into the banking app, and then a little bit of background context is, in my country, our currency is called Indonesian rupiah, and just for reference, $1 one US dollar equals to 16,000 Indonesian rupiah. So it's like 1 to 16,000. That's our currency converter, right? So what happens is in my second bank account, I actually use all of my money in this second bank account to buy some government bonds. So it was like literally empty. So when I checked my second bank account, it was like so going back, $1 is 16,000 rupiah. When I checked that second bank account, it was like only 50 rupiah. Like imagine 50 out of 16,000. That's like 0.001 dollar or something like that. So I was like, this is nothing, mom. Do I really need to report this to the government? And then it's like it's only 50 rupiah. Like you can't even buy candy at that point. Candy is like 1,000. So it's like, what can I even do? Do I even need to report this to the government? Like it's literally almost nothing. And then my mom is like, oh no, you have to report everything. I was like, fine. And then I download the bank statement with only 50 rupiah just over there. And then fast forward again to so we prepared those statements, and then I finish eating, and then I go to my computer, and then at first I thought I was like, mom's probably gonna forget about it. I'm gonna do it like sometime later. Maybe I'll play a little bit of game. But when I was about to play the game, my mom came into my room like, come on, let's do the taxes now. I was like, whoa, okay, all right, and then okay, fine. I'll open the tax website now. We're gonna fill it together. Okay, and then my mom is like, all right, sure, because I have a little sister, right? So we're gonna do this tax filing thing together as a family. Whoa, filing taxes is a family event. Isn't that crazy? Like imagine doing that. Anyways, but I was on my computer. I have a PC, a giant PC, and my little sister is somewhere else on the living room, right? So my mom is like, hey, Lux, can we do it together with your little sister? And then I was like, sure, bring my little sister to my room then. And then my mom is like, why don't you go to go to my little sister? And then I was like, okay, mom. First of all, I have a PC. Second of all, my sister's using a laptop, so I think it's a better idea that she comes to me instead. So yeah, and then my mom was like, fine, and then she went away, and then 5 minutes later, she finally came into my room, and then my little sister came to my room as well with her laptop in hand, have the government tax website on the laptop, and then it's exactly how it sounds. It's like my mom behind me, and then as I was filing my taxes, it's like she guide. I mean, it's a nice thing. She guide me through the process of inputting the tax, but imagine it like backseating on inputting tax. Isn't that crazy? Oh, you have to click this. Oh, you have to click this, and then input this in that field, and then all right, with the bank statements you just downloaded, now you need to make the calculations. This add by this add by this add by this, and then okay, to make sure you got it right, you have to use an Excel to do this. Use the sum equation to calculate everything. And then I was like, should we just use the calculator app in the PC? And my mom is like, no, it's better using the Excel app. And then okay, I was like, fine. And then I use the Excel app. I try to input the numbers. Now here is the one more annoying thing about Indonesian currency. Like, you know how in the West usually to express decimal points, like for example, if you have something 1.5 is 1.5, right? So it's 1.5 is 1.5 for US or Europeans, right? In my country, to express 1.5, it's actually 1,5. So what happens So what happens is, in still remember that the bank statements that I just downloaded in multiple banking apps, some of the banking apps is the correct format, which is 1.5, and then there's the other banking app is at the wrong number, which is 1,5 because it's the local currency. So I was like, can you imagine trying to mix those two numbers together in two different formats in Excel? It was just a hassle. So it's like, oh my god, I have to Google like how do I do the currency format for it to be uniform and stuff like that. Oh my god, it's really really annoying. But anyways, after the calculation is done, the calculation is done at my end, and then my mom is like, all right, yours is done, now go to the little sister. And then my little sister made a comment to my mom. It's like, so you're asking me to be in Lux's room for 20 minutes and I didn't even do anything here? So it's like, she backseated me doing my taxes, and then she's just doing nothing there. Because we thought that she's gonna backseat both of us, but turns out she's only backseating me for a while. So that happened. But yeah, that's one of the interesting ways and interesting stories about how I file my taxes in the Indonesian government system. All right. Woo! And then I have another story that I could tell you, but let me grab some water a little bit. Yep, just a reminder. Hey, this is a casual night. This is a Sunday night for y'all. I hope all of you have a wonderful Sunday night today. Do you guys have a wonderful Sunday night today? Booyah! Let's go.
Me, I need to do my taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, load of money there.
I gotta do my taxes now.
My taxes deadline is next week. Yes, taxes deadline is next week for me.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta finish my taxes.
15th, right?
But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's one of
Mine
the
ain't too bad though, at least.
yeah. Like, I mean, another thing that you kind of get to know, well, at least for me while doing taxes, it kind of like gave a brief overview, right? Like how much money you have and what have you spent your money at and stuff like that. So I think every year doing taxes, at least there is that aspect that I kind of find it enjoyable, which is looking back on what you do financially for the past 1 year. But that's just me though. I don't know about you guys. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you have a wonderful Sunday, and I don't have a wonderful Sunday not because of the taxes part, because right now it's Monday morning for me, so it's not Sunday anymore.
Madame Tish.
No. I had a wonderful Sunday. That's the joke. It's already Monday for me, so I don't have a wonderful Sunday. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's like Monday morning for me. If you like, I tell everybody here, I'm freaking Southeast Asia from Indonesia, so it's Monday, like 6:15 a.m. for me. I'm actually need to go to work in around 3 hours, so oh my god, yippee Monday. anyways, I still I did say I'm gonna talk here for like 30 to 40 minutes, so I still have a couple of things. I have a couple of stories to tell y'all. Hopefully in a funny manner. But yeah, hopefully from this experience, it will be entertaining for y'all to make your Sunday nights better. Anyways, all right. So I have like. Recently, it's kind of dawned to me, like very recently, which is, I kind of like to think of myself as a very sentimental person or a very like nostalgia-driven person. So sometimes, if I don't do anything, like maybe before going to sleep, while I was laying on the bed, sometimes I like to think about, oh, how long I've been went through in life. Like it's been like what 5 years since I finished college, and also like and then it's also like, oh my god, like it's just surreal, like how time sometimes passes through very fast. Uh, sometimes like time passes very fast, and then you just look back and see what you do for the past couple of years and days. But one of the things that I like to I like to look back into is the how far I have how far I've been in VR, to be honest. Because compared to some of y'all, I think of myself like not really been long in VR so far. Like this is like my 2.5 years in VR, I would say. Kind of like rookie numbers to some of y'all. But looking back, it's like it's crazy how far I have been in VR and how far I have developed as a person in VR. So, uh, actually, yeah, just think about it for a moment. Like, let me ask you something. How do you describe it in a few words? How do you guys find VR? Is it like COVID? Is it the Ugandan knuckles memes? Do you know that way? Like, all right, who started in COVID? Who started in COVID? Like, how many of you started in COVID? Has anybody started before COVID?
I, for one.
Yeah, some of y'all before COVID, and then some of y'all after COVID, right?
Into an intervention.
Man, that looks fun.
And some of you are after COVID, right? Started VR after COVID.
Yep.
hmm Yeah.
That was me.
Right on
So
the tail end.
so yeah, many people started VR during COVID. Let's just assume that, yeah. But well, for me, I started VR during the mid of 2022, and I have mentioned this story a lot of times to a couple of y'all already. But hey, I'm gonna go into the nitty-gritty details of this story now, so should be fun. So yeah, if you don't know, I got into VR. It's actually not because of me just suddenly interested on it, or when I see a YouTube video of Ugandan knuckles, suddenly I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna go into VR. No, I didn't start like that. I actually got addicted to VR because of my company that I work for. So just for context, if you and for as a reminder for everybody, if you guys don't know, I work uh, back then 2.5 years ago until now. I still work for Indonesian private bank. I can say that what the bank called, it's a BCA. It's a very large company. It's like 70,000 people, and I'm one of the employees there. And my job title at that time until now is IT specialist. But what I actually do is IT researcher. So any new technologies that is happening in the world, I am the one, me and my team is the one that is gonna study the new technology first and try to apply it to the company. So with that in mind, how the heck did my company got me into VR, and eventually I got addicted to VR? So what happened is, if you guys remember, this is like back in like 2021 or something like that. If you still remember, our our lizard overlord, Mark Zuckerberg, go into a live stream, and he was like, "I'm proud to announce that Facebook will change their name into Meta." Something along those lines, yeah. So yeah, metaverse was hype thanks to that. Thanks to Mark Zuckerberg changed his Facebook company into Meta to reflect his vision of the metaverse. A lot of companies back then is like, especially in the Indonesian company background, it's like started talking about virtual reality and metaverse and making a virtual space and stuff like that. Like, I don't need to go into detail into this. I think everybody knows how it was back then with the metaverse hype. So yeah, that's how it all started. And then back then, during when I first started VR chat, that is when my boss and my supervisor is like, okay, Lux, there is this new thing called the metaverse. We have no idea what it really is. So you're gonna be the lead researcher about the virtual reality and metaverse. And then I was like, okay, sure. And then I looked into it for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, if I want to do some virtual reality, the first step is we need to buy a VR headset. And then I did what I did. I did what any other VR reality novice at that time do, which is suggesting we buy a Quest 2. I think we can. It's safe to assume that everybody kind of started on a quest somewhere or another, right? Like Quest 2, Quest 1, or Rift S or something like that. I think we all started somewhere along those lines before we get into the more higher end of VR headsets. But yeah, I first started on the Quest 2, and guess what? Since my company wants to do this research, that means they're the one who's paying my paying my VR gear at that time. So yeah, I bought a Quest 2 with the link cable that is sponsored by my company, and then I actually didn't start research into the VR space in VR chat initially. It was actually first started on the Altspace VR, if you guys remember that, like that VR platform from Microsoft called Altspace VR. I actually first started there. It's really crazy, yeah. It's like
Surreal.
it's very surreal, yeah. So I look into Altspace VR, but I do look into VR chat though eventually. Like, it's a parallel kind of thing. Like, we do look at Altspace VR, but we also look at VR chat as well. Okay, and then fast forward, we do have I use the Quest 2 with the cable attached to it into the PC, but then I found a little bit of difficulties, like sometimes if you accidentally dislocated the cable a little bit on the headset, it's gonna be disconnected, and it's really annoying to calibrate everything again in the PC to have it working. But the most problematic thing about Quest 2 back then is because in my company we have to demonstrate the VR to the higher ups on the company. Like some bosses is like, oh, I wanna try this VR, and then I gave the VR headset, everything set up to the boss, and then the boss is like, so how do I do this? But here's the thing: if you use the Quest, I cannot actually see what they're seeing because back then the Oculus software is kind of dog shit, not gonna lie. So it's really hard to guide them. I have to memorize the layout of the UI and everything like that, and try to predict what they're doing. So it was a little bit annoying to do the demonstration and stuff like that. However, I know at that time that Valve Index is actually easier from a lot of the YouTube videos I found. Like, if you play VR chat, you hop on into VR in the desktop that is running VR, you can see like what the person inside the VR is doing, right? So at that time, how I made the jump from Quest 2 to Valve Index with my company money is like, hey boss, so we have a bit of difficulty demonstrating VR to some of the bosses here. I cannot see what they're doing. So there's this thing called Valve Index. It's like 3 times the price of a Quest 2, but it's gonna be easier to explore VR. Maybe we should get it. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And then that's how I got my first Quest 2 with not Quest 2. I got my first Valve Index with my company's money. So yeah, my company actually fueled my yeah, my VR addiction at that time. And then using the Valve Index for quite a while, and then I saw like I play a couple of like like I first started VR chat on like around September in 2022, and I still remember back then when I first attended my first few VR dancing sessions at that time, is I didn't do it at home. Like I go to the company like early morning, like 6 or 7 a.m., and then I literally try to do VR dancing in my office, and then it was so miserable. It's like so hot there at that time. So yeah, that was funny. But why I bring that up? Because when I found VR dancing, it's where I first got exposed into full body tracking. I saw a lot of people. I still remember it's actually you, browsers. Like you have full body tracking. You show off your full body tracking to me, and then I was like, that's interesting. Full body tracking. I want that shit. And then I try to go to my to my bosses, and then it's like, hey, this VR thing, there's this thing called full body tracking. I think we should get it. And then but this time there's a little bit of resistance, I would say. It's like so they're like, what do you need full body tracking for? And then I was like, actually, that's a good question. It's a nice to have thing. And then they were like, give us a good reason for full body tracking. And then I was like, okay, sure. If you want a reason, I'll find a reason then. And then I do a little bit of research, and then this is what I came out on how to get my company to get full body tracking. I saw some VTubers, especially Filian, do VTubing with full body tracking, right? And it's making videos and stuff like that, making YouTube videos, doing streams with full body tracking with the Valve Index in VR chat. So I was like, hey boss, so you want a reason for full body tracking? There's this full body tracking allows to track of the legs and the hips and stuff like that. So if we make a custom avatar of our company mascot, we can use this full body tracking to make video content on promoting our company and stuff like that. And then, okay, now that's actually a good reason. And then, poop, purchase, cha-ching, I got the full body tracking with my company's money. And then, and I'm not bluffing, by the way. It actually, I'm not bluffing. It actually happened, Like as time goes on, we actually like commission an artist in Fiverr. It's not, I don't have it on my account, on my personal account, but I have a VR chat account, my company's VR chat account, and in that company's VR chat account, we actually have a custom avatar made by a freelancer in Fiverr of our company mascot, and sometimes we do actually make video content for our company presentations using VR chat, using the Valve Index, using the full body. But that's a brief history about how I got into VR chat. So yeah, at first I got VR chat thanks to my company's venture into the metaverse and how they finance the gear, the gear and stuff like that. So, but unfortunately, not unfortunate. It's fortunate overall that COVID has died down in 2023. So the demand for metaverse and the hype of the metaverse is dead, especially with ChatGPT these days. So it's like it's not needed anymore. So that project kind of stopped for my company. But the funny thing is, my boss is actually pretty cool, My boss is pretty cool. Where I was like, hey, this VR gear, this VR headset, and the trackers is not gonna be used on the company. Can I bring it home and have fun with it? Since it's just at the same time, it's like I'm also maintaining the equipment anyway. And then my boss is like, cool, okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah, just bring it home and play around in it. And yeah, for the entire duration of my first 1.5 years in VR, I actually used my company's VR equipment to explore around VR chat, and that's how I got fun. I got get to meet with you guys and everything. And then yeah, that's how I got into VR chat. But the funny thing is, in the middle of 2024, it's actually like last year around April, I got a call from my boss, and then my boss is like, "Hey, Lux, so uh, where is the VR headset and the Vive trackers right now?" And then I was like, "Yeah, it's still in my home. I still play around with it. What about it?" And then my boss is like, "Ooh, okay, that's gonna be a little bit a problem. So you see, the auditors in the company did an audit in our division, and they found out that this Valve index that we purchased is missing in the storage, and they were wondering where it is. So I don't think it should be at your home anymore." And I was like, fuck. And honestly, at that point, I'm too addicted to VR chat. So I bought my own Valve Index. And the full body tracking and everything. So yeah, that's what happens. So that's how I got into VR chat and in VR in the full detail. Okay, but in that story though, a little bit of a side tangent. I have I know an interesting fellow from all that journey. I actually okay, just for a little bit of context again. We are in Indonesia. It's like halfway across the world from US and EU. That means getting VR gear is actually a very hard thing to do, you know? Like, you know how in US or Europe, if you go to the Steam page and you type Valve Index, you can actually buy Valve Index directly from Steam, right? Like, it's gonna be delivered to your home and everything like that. It's gonna be cool, but in Indonesia, if you actually try to buy a Valve Index through Steam, they actually didn't sell it. It's like not available in your region. So it's like really, really, really hard to get VR gear in Indonesia, in where I'm from. So when I get when I am in the company, I suggest buying the Quest 2 Valve Index and the full body. Is like I need to do some little bit of not black market. It's like a little bit kind of, it feels illegal kind of way of method. It's still legal to buy, but it's kind of like illegal. It feels illegal. It's basically we have I have to go to Tokopedia. There's a marketplace. There's an online marketplace in Indonesia called Tokopedia. It's literally store and Wikipedia combined into one name, Tokopedia. If I'm gonna describe Tokopedia in a very short way to everybody here, it's basically eBay without the white people. It's literally it. It's basically the Asian version of eBay, yeah. So to buy all those VR gear, I need to venture on this Tokopedia website, and you know how, and I think you pretty much know how eBay works. Some of the sellers are reliable, and some of the sellers are scummy kind of thing. So it's kind of need a little bit of skill to determine from the page, like, hey, is this seller trustworthy? Is this seller not trustworthy? So it's kind of scary to get VR gear in Indonesia. So where am I going with this story? So I have this thing called a VR drug dealer, I would say. So yeah, I have a like from me purchasing a lot of VR gear from my company, it's like I always go back to the same store basically. So there is this marketplace in store in this Tokopedia website, and I buy the Quest 2 from this store, and then I buy the Valve Index from this store, and then I also buy the full body tracker from this store. from the same store. So it's a very reliable store. And I think I spent like thousands of dollars of my company's money on this one store already, right? So what happened is when in 2024 my company wanted the Valve index and everything to be returned to the company. So that means I was like, shit, then how can I play VR now at my own time at home and on the weekends? So I need to buy my own Valve index with the full body tracking, right? So I go back to the same store in Tokopedia on that reliable seller, and then I make a one ballsy move. I actually the first question I asked to them is, hey, do you have another Valve index? And then the seller is like, yeah, we have another Valve index with the full body tracking. It's the last one on the stock as well. And then I was like, oh shit, yeah, I would like to have a Valve index. And then I did the ballsy move of, hey, you know what? I buy from you for a lot of things already. Do you have WhatsApp? So I'm trying to cut the middleman. I'm trying to cut the eBay and Tokopedia part. I'm trying to cut that out of the equation and just go straight directly have a contact line with this seller. So I was like, hey, do you have WhatsApp? It's basically a text messaging app in Indonesia, if you guys don't know. But yeah, hey, do you have WhatsApp? And then the seller is like, yeah, I have WhatsApp. All right, can you contact me with this number? I sent my personal number, and then they were like, sure, let's have a contact in the number. And now, like, it's explicitly stated you cannot exchange contact information directly like that to do a purchase in the Tokopedia website. But we did it anyways. No one's gonna look anyway. So yeah, to buy my own personal Valve index, I contact this reliable seller, and then I was like, okay, I want a Valve index and I want the full body tracking. How much will it be? And it's really expensive. It's like everything is around $1,800 at that time. I know it's way more expensive compared to America because of we are halfway across the world. I kind of understand it. And then eventually I asked this VR seller a little bit on, try to get to know who I'm dealing with, kind of thing, So I was like, hey, so how do you get your VR gear to Indonesia? And then the seller told me about, yeah, sure, I can tell you that. Basically, this VR seller, I'll just call him Mr. R at that point, okay? Like, I know his real life name at this point, but I'll call him Mr. R from now on, yeah. So this Mr. R is like, he goes to US regularly, like he has a family in America. So what he does is every half a year, he goes to the US, spend time with his family there, and then while he goes back to Indonesia, to do his work and stuff like that, he brings a couple of VR gear into Indonesia and sell that VR gear into Indonesia. But here's the thing, it's kind of like a gray area, like he brings VR heads, like VR gear into Indonesia. The typical way is you need to do a shipment kind of thing, and then you have to do import taxes and stuff like that, and that's why the VR gear is bloated and why nobody sells VR gear in Indonesia. So what he does is he put all those VR gear in his personal luggage, so it got tagged as a personal item, and that's how he can get VR gear into Indonesia, and that's how he sell the VR stuff in Indonesia. So with that in mind, I was like, hey, I want a Valve index. I want full body. And then he was like, sure, I still have one more Valve index with the full body. The full set of Valve index. It's the last sock. And then I was like, shit, okay, I want that, please. And then I asked, oh, how much is it? It's $1,800. And then I was like, I did the most risky ballsy moves. I was like, hey, you know what? I purchased from you 4 times already. I'm gonna just directly transfer half of the amount to you and you send it to me. It's a very ballsy move. Like I'm gonna send a full $900 without strings attached directly to his bank account, and I trust him to send that shit to me soon. So I did that. And then yeah, it actually happened. 5 days later, I received my Valve index with everything, and then I did the check, put it on attach it to my computer, play around with it to see if it works, and then hey, everything works. It's actually still the same index headset that I'm using now, so it works. And then hey, it works. Here's the rest of the $900, and then boom. That's how I got myself a VR drug dealer. But ever since then, I still buy a few things from him, you know? Like, hey, Mr. R, do you have extra gasket? Because sometimes I get sweaty dancing in VR. And then he was like, sure, $50, and I'll send it to you. And then I immediately directly transfer $50 to his bank account, and he immediately sent it to me. And then another time, I was like, oh, I want to try 9-point tracking in VR. Do you have another 3.0 trackers? And then he was like, ooh, unfortunately, I don't have any more Vive 3.0s anymore. But I do have the Tundras, though. Would you be interested in Tundras? And then I was like, okay, Tundras. Isn't it less reliable than Steam than 3.0s? And he was like, no, actually it's much more simpler for me. And then we do a little bit of exchange and stuff like that. And then yep, all right, I'll buy it then. And then from there, boom, I sent him $600, and then boom, I got my Tundra trackers and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how I got myself a VR drug dealer. I literally, all my VR gear is literally from one person. Hey, got a supply chain, that's how it works. Oh my god. Alright, I kinda yapped for 45 minutes already. Does anybody wanna yap about something else? No? Alright. Alright, well, honestly, that's about it. That's what I have prepared